Kingdom people, they want you to take responsibility for them. They want you to take responsibility for them. And they want you to take responsibility for them by being there for them, supporting them, even if they are mishandling you, even if they don't treat you the best, even if they're being disrespectful, even if they're being immature, even if they're very unhealthy, toxic, chaotic, destructive, just very low behaving, low in spirit, even if they're so negative. And kind of people, we don't like to be around that. People who are negative, they can't see any good in anything. Everything is a complaint. And even if you try to provide them a solution, they don't want that. You want to move around people like that because they have a lot of, I just heard garbage. They do. They have a lot of garbage. And the issue is they don't want to clean up their garbage. They don't want to throw their garbage out. They want to keep their garbage. They want to stay the way they are. They really do. And do they want sometimes to have different results? Of course they do. They want a better life. They want things to be different for them. But when you dwell on things in a negative way and you don't do anything to change the outcome of it, then you're going to keep getting the same results that you don't want. And so these people seem to not be able to make that connection, even if you provide that, wisdom to them, so to speak. It's like they want to stay where they are, because the real thing is that they don't want to change. They don't want to, as we like to say, do the work, because work is work. And these kind of people, they like it easy. And it's the thing, kind of people, if we could have it easy, we would have it easy too. We do everything that we can. We've learned to do what we can. We're learning to make things easier for ourselves, to make things more convenient for ourselves. Listen, life is already tough, and that's just what it is. We're going to have to deal with things in life because it's life. Life happens. Furthermore, when we're walking with Christ, that's an extra addition of life that we have to deal with because we live our lives for Christ. And so, we just learning to adapt to what it is and still have a positive outcome. Outcome, but attitude. And yes, ultimately we get positive outcomes. But these people, kingdom people, here's what's going on with these people. They don't want to make the necessary changes. They want you to take responsibility for them. Let me tell you why. Because they see you doing well with life. They feel like even if these people at one point in time were acting like they were above you, acting like you was insignificant, trying to get you to worship them. See, after they've gone through all of those trials and tribulations that they put themselves through after trying to put you through trials and tribulations, and what I mean by that, all that stuff backfired when they tried to put all of this stuff on you, and they try to cause you all these problems and try to get you to bow down to them pretty much. First of all, that didn't work. And then they see how you move. They feel like you're doing life pretty good. They feel like you seem like you got a handle on this thing. And so in their minds, they think that you should understand, and they understand to some extent that you understand where they are. You understand why they're the way they are. They have some understanding at this point of that, and they feel like since you understand how they are and why they're the way they are, you should just accept it and take responsibility for them, in a sense of you do life well. You seem to be able to just handle, seem to have worked out your things with yourself and do well with life. They have the attitude at this point, they wouldn't verbalize this to you, but this is what they're wanting. for you to do on your own. They want you to say, oh, well, they're not doing so well. I understand where they are. I understand, why they're this way. So let me just take them on. That's what they want you to do, because they feel like if you take responsibility for them, life would be so much easier for them. They want what they deem as your life being easier, they want their life to be easy for them as well, like that. But they feel like they need you to carry them. They need you to take responsibility for them. Again, I ain't gonna say they would never say this, because some people crazy enough to say that. But this is what they're thinking. This is what they're wanting. And it is conflicting, because at the same time, it's conflicting within them. They have an inner conflict, because at the same time that they're wanting this, that nagging feeling of still wanting to be superior to you is still there. So those are conflicting, ideas and desires. I'm here, ideologies that they have going on in there. And yeah. And again, they want you to offer. They want you to just take them on. What I've learned, and I've experienced this recently, where at this point, certain people's behavior is not even necessarily to aggravate me at this point. It's not even to get it. Well, it is to get a reaction, but it's to get me to take responsibility of them. And here's the thing, by acting like a child, how kids be acting like, no, they kids. They want what they want. If they don't get what they want, what do? They tend to act a fool. They act a fool to get what they want. That can go both ways. But sometimes these people act a fool because they want you to look at them. They want you to see them in a good way. They want to feel superior to you, but what has happened is they realize that's not the case. They realize they feel now like you're superior to them, but not wanting to necessarily acknowledge that. And I'm not saying that you feel that way. I'm talking about how they feel. And your behavior is the way you move is you walk with God. God is in you. So, and then they couldn't break that down in you. So now they feel like, take me on. And the behavior at this point, as I was saying, is designed to trigger your thinking in that direction. You're supposed to, it's kind of like, I'm reminded of my girl who was talking about, she just did a message on, she was saying how we don't have empathy for bullies. We don't have empathy for those people who are trying to be problematic to us, who target us. And I thought that was interesting. But she was saying it in a way of how people make comment in her thingy, make comments and say how you should just have empathy for them. And she's making a point to say, we don't have empathy for bullies. We don't have empathy for people out here targeting people and causing the people. No, we don't have. She was like, we don't have empathy for that. And here's the thing. We can have compassion because we know they jacked up. But we don't have empathy for them in a way where we're getting ready to take you on and try to engage. We already know where you stand. And here's the thing, in listening to her, God kind of ended up speaking to me, simultaneously kind of around this a little bit. What ultimately these people want you to do is take responsibility for them. Once they realize that you can't be bullied, once they realize that they already realize you had it going on, which is why they bully you. But once they see how you handle them, then it becomes take responsibility for me since you got this. Since you saw. And then they don't want to change. They don't want to do anything about their behavior. We're just supposed to understand why they're so messed up, why they're like this, and say, okay, but that doesn't help anyone, to be honest. In fact, that probably has been their experience up until you, possibly, because once you come along, all that gets shut down. It's just the way God works that out. When people get tired of them, people don't want to go along with their stuff no more. They start losing people when you come around. And anybody that's going along with whatever they have going on really don't even have the capacity to truly take responsibility for them, which they shouldn't be doing anyway. See how they go? And so the thing is, they want you to take responsibility for them because you got a handle on this thing, they feel, and they're struggling. And here's the truth for you. God got a handle on your thing. Yes, you doing what you need to do. You walking upright. You working hard to make better, good decisions, good choices. You letting God lead you. That's how you got a handle on this thing. And let me tell you about that, kingdom people. You got to keep a handle on that thing, because the enemy does everything in his power to try to pry us away from having a handle on that thing. And that takes a lot of diligence. That takes a lot of commitment, a lot of inner conviction. Of course, we're not easily pushed off our position, off our stance. Of course not. The point is, there's a lot of forces. There's a lot of pressure. There's a lot of pushback that we get. Again, trying to push us off of, having it. Not even so much together, because having it together, because we do everything that we can to keep ourselves together, but we also understand, honey, it's God that keeps us together. Nobody but. Okay? But we have to cooperate with that. We have to be proactive with that. We have to do our part. And that's what they don't want to do, that they see you doing. That's work. And that's work they don't want to do. Now, I want to hit on that a little bit. It's not so much that we want to have to do all this. I'm going to go ahead and say hard work. I normally don't like to use that. I like to just say it's work, because hard puts such a hardness on it that I care not to have, even though that's, it can be just that. But that's the thing. We don't care to have it, but because it's just what come with it. It's what it is. We learn how to accept it and endure and do what we need to do, because kingdom people, with God on our side, with God going before us, having our back, with God holding our hand, holding what he say, he hold us with his victorious right hand, and he helps us. With him going before us, making our crooked places straight, with him working these things out in us, with him completing the good work in us that he has began, with him being the one orchestrating and working it all out and helping us through and leading us and guiding us and giving us strength. It's like I said, it's really him keeping us together, but we doing our part for him to keep us together, if you will. And so I'm saying all that to say, it ain't like it's fun. It ain't like it's, we make it the best out of it. I mean, we enjoy life in spite of. We do our best. This is what it is. But again, with God with us, we know we good. And so I'm saying all that to say, honey, it ain't like it's so easy. But to them, it looks real easy. It looks easy to them. I'm reminded how they say favor ain't fair. And what God reminded me of, I spoke on that, hit on that the other day. Kind of, I don't remember what the message was, the title of the message, but what I remember, I heard somebody say it a few times yesterday, the same person, and I'm just like, oh boy. But I don't know if I said this before when I hit on it, but the people who say that is people that don't want to grow up, kid-like people, immature people. That ain't fair. That ain't fair. And that's how they be feeling. That it ain't fair. It ain't fair that you got this or you do this or you ain't. It ain't fair. But They not willing to do what's necessary to get the job done. Again, I'm not saying that there are not situations where people are being unfair, but usually we see that and hear that ain't fair with people that are jealous. Let's just say what it is. They're jealous of what the privileges that the person has, but they got those privileges because of something that they did correct. But the people that saying it ain't fair, they ain't do none of that. So it's immature. It's the point that I'm making. And these people have been like that with you. It ain't fair. That's where that jealousy can come in too. Feeling like it ain't fair. Y'all heard, I say y'all heard because I know y'all have people that feel like you don't deserve it. Who is they to say you don't deserve it? If God, and we don't even sometimes think we deserve some things, but if God said, who is you to pretty much, and let me say this first, pretty much say what God gives, you don't deserve it. God doing it for you, but they said you don't deserve it. Like they what they feel trumps what God is saying and what he doing. But what God have taught me about people like that, they ain't considering God. They ain't thinking of God. They think they the decision maker. They think they the one that say. And if you don't deserve it and they feel like they do, then why they ain't getting it? Why they ain't got it? Why they ain't got the privilege? But of course, that's the point. They ain't trying to do all that, do what's necessary, so they won't be sitting up talking about, hey, you don't deserve, you know. But God said you do. But willing it back to my point is this, kind of people, they want you to take responsibility for them. Even the ones that said it ain't fair, even the ones that said you don't deserve. Here's the thing. You got it, you're doing it. It's you seem to be doing your thing in their eyes, so now they like, well, that's where it comes in. Well, how they say they want to jump on your coattail, they want to ride your coattail, they want to jump on your ship, they want to ride your wave. That's why all that come in at, because after they done seen all that and usually these, like I said, this is usually the people that did all kind of stuff to stop, block, hating on you, dismiss you, whatever, said you would never be none, whatever. These usually be the people that when it's all said and done, I'm just reminded of Joseph looking at you, wanting you to take responsibility for them. Because you got it. We done all that to you and you standing on business. You the one that got it. You the one that's doing it. Joseph's brother thought they had done away with him, and it was all said and done. They had to come back to him with their hands out, because he the one that had it. He was the one. Just like he was the one back then when they thought they were getting rid of him, when they thought they was putting an end to his dream. And just what his dream said is exactly what happened, because God said it, and so it was. And that's it. That settles it. But kingdom people, they see, regardless of what they said and did, y'all know how they do it. Y'all know how it go. Regardless of all that, now this is all said and done, just to this extent, because you know how they go. They got to go some more. But right now, they in a place because you doing it. You doing and they man what they can't do or what they won't do. But the truth is, if you think you can't, because that's how they think, you can't. They see you doing it though. So how they say, if you can't beat them, join them. That's what they thought. We think not. Anyhow, kingdom people, they want you to take responsibility for them.